A hearty hello and hey there to everybody in the Facebook community for FFBE Global. Garrett's here with another Ask an Old Mog question, but I have an exciting break from that today, and actually that's to say that I don't actually have a question. I was actually just thinking about some stuff that I thought would be useful to talk about, and I came up with an idea, and here it is. And I was thinking about how a lot of times there's upcoming content that we know a little bit about because of the Japanese version of the game and how other people like content creators have played that version of the game and can pretty much tell you in advance like here's the items you're going to need, here's the strategy that's going to work, here's whatever is going to you're going to be able to do, and here's how you can beat this boss the day it comes out and not really worry about it. But since global is a different version of the game and we have some global trials that are unique, we don't always have that information available to us. um, and sometimes we have to be a little bit more resourceful, especially on day one. Now, I've seen some people talk about in the group, okay, on day one, I just won't play the event and I'll wait until some of the people who know what they're doing, put out some videos to either figure this out or tell me what to do. And then I'll just copy that strategy and I'll just do it that way, and it's not a big deal. I just won't do it on day one. Well, that's all fine and good, but I think sometimes it's fun to try it on your own. And to help us with that, I was thinking about how we can get whatever information we can and put it to good use so that we can try to do things on our own. Especially as a new player, it's good to kind of figure things out and know why something works. And part of that is just knowing what's in the game and what's readily available for you. And so I was thinking a little bit about that and thought I would put this together. So without further ado, here we are. So I was thinking about it and taking a look at the news because I look at the news regularly to know what's upcoming. And I know that one of the things that we have upcoming is Clash of Wills. So if you've never done Clash of Wills before, haven't watched any videos on Clash of Wills, or you have to be rank 50 to do it at least, or level 50 to do it. So at least you have to have like gone through some of the basics of the game. Clash of Wills can be a little bit difficult at times. It really boils down to you having the right combination of, units that are at high EX levels to get the good scores, but it also really relies on you having a wide selection of gear and abilities to kind of maximize out your character's strengths and weaknesses to do as much damage as possible. And so from the news, we can tell that the upcoming Clash of Wills boss, which should be in I think a week, maybe 2 weeks from now, I couldn't remember the specific date, but it's coming up. It comes up when Dark Visions is finished. We know that from the news that the upcoming boss is a Reaper/Stone enemy, and that the boss will use stop and zombie status effects. And so it's going to become very important to have abilities equipped that either give you Reaper or Stone Killer, or items that equip that give you Reaper or Stone Killer, and ways of dealing with Stop and Zombie. And so I was thinking about, what do we have available in the game that any player who just picked up the game could go ahead and grab, theoretically with the right, right strategy, right units, right friend units, whatever, to help them with getting ready for Clash of Wills, because we know, like I said, Reaper and Stone. Now, what I can tell you, as somebody who's been playing the game since the very beginning, is that Reaper and Stone Killer materias and abilities are not the most common, but there are a handful that we can get our hands on right now, and if you haven't done it, they're actually really pretty easy to get, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Some of them are from completing trials, and some of them are from getting STMRs and TMRs from your units. So let's start with talking about killer abilities. And this is kind of a big list, but these are the ones that you can get just kind of by doing things in the game. So for Reaper Killer, you can get Conquering the Fear of Spirits. You get that from Scorn of the Ancient Hellbringer, which is in the Vortex, in the Nemesis page. This is like the hard version of the robot trial. What is that thing called? The Omega trial. So this is the hard version of the Omega trial to get Conquering the Fear of Spirits, and it's pretty good physical killer for Reaper. You can also get the Undead Killer recipe by doing the key quest in the first chapter. You can theoretically use unit of choice tickets, or if you happen to have enough Onion Knights from the original Onion Knight character to fuse them together and get his STMRs pretty good. You can get Ghost Eater Sense from Scorn of the Erinyes, which was featured a couple of months back during the Sephiroth event, because people needed you know, magic Undead Killer for that trial to, you know, kind of one shot it with Eris. And so, you know, you could go into these trials and get these right now. Same thing with Stone Killer. You know, you can give King Giot, who's a free unit that we can get. You can max out his TMR with just regular Moogles and get Stone Killer. You can get Wild Rose Furian's STMR. Again, that's a 7-star unit, so you could use UOC tickets on them. Or Zeneta, again, Graceful Footwork will give you some Stone Killer. And these are just, you know, these are all things that you can pick up in the game. They're not time limited. Unfortunately, a lot of the abilities that I have on my list for Undead Killer and Stone Killer are from limited events. And that's going to be, you know, kind of a shortcoming for anybody who has not been playing the game for a while or missed out on some of those events. But these things you can get right now for free. And abilities are not the only thing that's important. You know, items are available too. You can do the Scorn of Tiamat trial to get the Ancient Sword for some Reaper Killer. You can complete the Scorn of the Octopus and the Teacher trial, which is the Ultros and Typhon trial, to get the Stardust Rod for a really big 75% Undead Killer for a rod. You can use the Armor of Oppression trial in the various difficulties to get the Darksteel Destroyer Greatsword or the Darksteel Heavy Armor for some Stone Killer. And that's just, you know, you can just put those on, and they're not bad items anyway. They're not like the maximum level strength items, but you know, when you combine the fact that they're decent enough and have killer effect on them, you know, it's pretty good. Eileen's STMR for scanning goggles, again, she's 5-star. You could unit of choice her. Esther's TMR for the Storm Bunny jacket, that's going to get you some Stone Killer as well. So these are all things you could just go pick up, or, you know, put on your item on your units if you already have them to help you out with that. Now, I know I said some of these come from trials that you have to complete, and you know, I understand that some trials can be a little challenging if you don't have the right units, but the Armor of Oppression trials in particular are not that difficult. So if you look on the screen, I'm showing a run that I did, and this is all naked units except for Vivi. We're going to pretend Vivi's kind of a friend unit, and so if you have a good Vivi, you can do this just by giving Steiner his limit break, then just bouncing Reflect. Aerith also uses a Rod Imperil and a Human Killer. Gilgamesh is going to break here in just a second, but you're going to see Vivi is just going to do all the damage by himself and take out the armor, you know, in one turn. And this is the Scorn version. This is the hardest version of it theoretically. I find the easier version is technically a little harder, but you know, with current units, these are not difficult trials at all. We're going to see Vivi here just kind of like roasting him with Thanaga, and so he is going to do that now, and there he goes. You know, he didn't even get through the first cast. It just, you know, wiped him out because of how strong he is in Reflect. Now this is again a really well geared Vivi. We're going to pretend that it's not my Vivi and it's just a friend Vivi. So you know, theoretically, if you need a friend Vivi to help you with this and you want that, I would be happy to set one up for you. All you need is the rest of the units in this case. This is the extreme version, so it's technically easier. I do this one in 2 turns, using Elena and Mastermind Zon to like spread around some water imbues, Gilgamesh to break, you know, and then I think I bounce Holy as well. But you know, this can be done very easily. All those units are naked except for Elena, and Zon has his I think Trustmaster reward just to be able to triple cast. But just chaining it up and then hitting them really hard with a current relevant unit, not even current, you know, Luna Freya there is not that current. She's just really good at what she does, which is, you know, hitting the boss really hard. All you have to really do is survive turn 1, and in this case, I let Gilgamesh use his Gilgamesh. It sounds like he's on drugs. No, Gilgamesh is using his universal cover ability to just protect the party and just soak up all the damage. He doesn't need to help out on turn 2 anyway. So if he dies, and he doesn't anyway, because I've got some stuff on him, you know, he can protect the party that way, so you can survive past the meteor that's coming. Zon was just spreading all those buffs around, and then we're gonna wipe out the boss here in the next turn. I think I do bounce Reflect. Let's see if I cast Carbuncle, that means I bounce Reflect. Well, yeah, Elena's just gonna triple chain Bolting Strike here, and Zon's gonna triple chain Bolting Strike. A break doesn't really matter, doesn't really apply. Bolting Strike. Yep. Let's see. No, oh, I do chain with him. Oops, Bolting Strike. You know, whatever. Oh, she's not even bouncing holy. She's just casting holy. Oh, goodness. What was I doing? But yeah, holy, evocation damage, goodbye. You get the armor of oppression. You know, so you get that good stuff. And that's just 2 turns. You know, you could easily go in with a friend unit and some basic stuff that's, you know, relatively relevant, and get all that stuff for free. So to recap, you know, you should definitely go in and try and get some of these free items and abilities and things that are available to you in the game. I would recommend checking the wiki. You know, if you go to the abilities page on the wiki, you can check for materia and things that give killer effects and start hunting down some of those stone killer and reaper killer items if you can. Maybe there's some units that you have laying around that you could fuse together to get STMRs or TMRs available that can help you. You know, sort through your gear list and see. Oh, I forgot something very important. We didn't talk about stop and zombie. Oh my gosh. Stop and zombie. So stop protection. You know, Sephiroth's, the new Sephiroth's STMR, which is kind of a yikes item to get because it takes kind of a lot to get that. It takes a lot to get Sephiroth anyway, and then getting his STMR is either going to cost you a Moogle or you know, enough copies of Sephiroth to get it. But his armor does give you stop protection, as does 7-star Madame Adele's, and that's less of a yikes because you can use unit of choice tickets to get more copies of her if you want. But there are some 50% ways you can get it too. Final Fantasy IX Garland, Daughter of Destiny Vanille, you can get 50% each from them. Shiva has 50% if you build her right. And then there's tons of abilities that are on units that can just like cure stop and prevent stop on your team just by casting them. So those are good ones to look out for too. You know, not the best unit right now, but Ayaka can do that. Or if you're looking for Clash of Wills because you're going to want high EX levels, Lotus Mage Fina, she can get to EX +3, and she can also do stop removal and stop prevention, I think. If not prevention, she can definitely do removal, which is good. And then you can just make her immune to it with one of these items, and then she can just remove it for you when you need to. Zombie's a little more complicated. Lotus Mage Fina can do that too. On a cooldown though, Kresnik is going to be much better, and I'm thinking that depending on how the boss's zombie mechanic works, that Kresnik is probably going to be pretty much overpowered for dealing with zombie on this fight. But it really just depends, like if the boss's zombie mechanic is not that annoying. Zombie's one of those things that can either just be really annoying to deal with, or you're just going to ignore it. It just depends. But if this is a fight where we have to do some healing, which ideally we're not doing any healing anyway, if you gear yourself right, then we don't have to worry about zombie. We'll see. It just depends on how the fight goes, but we will have to just wait and see. Now, speaking of stop and zombie and how units can provide you some assistance, some units have killer abilities that they can use to cast and then give your whole party Stone Killer or Undead Killer. Stone Killer in particular, you can use Neovision's Adele or Neovision's Awakened Eileen. So some of those could be useful for you as you are looking to put a team together for Clash of Wills. So, like I was saying, you can go into the wiki and you can search for killer abilities on the abilities page, and you can start hunting down materia and things that can do that. The FFB builder is also a good resource to help you look for killers and abilities that provide different benefits. A lot of the stop resistant stuff, equipment and things, are actually time limited, unfortunately, and so if you like Super Ribbon or the Boy Brimming with Curiosity, those are both time limited unit things that you can't go back and get right now. That's why I wasn't focusing on those. I'm trying to focus on ones that are in the game you can go grab right now. But I definitely recommend you preparing yourself for that. If you haven't already completed some of those trials, go in and get them done. There are lots of really great videos available for clearing those trials with old units. And so if you kind of take what somebody else has already done and apply new units that are better, you're probably going to knock those trials out even faster. That way you can get some of these rewards and get yourself ready for Clash of Wills if that's something you're interested in. So like I said before, if you are in need of a friend to set something up, let me know in the group and I'll be happy to set up a friend unit for you, and add me as your friend if you haven't done that already. That way you can maybe try and knock some of those trials out. If you need a strong VV or a strong Luna Freya for either of those, I can help you with it. But let us know, and if you have any questions about any of that or anything that you want to see discussed in a future video, feel free to drop a comment here. We'd be happy to look into it and put something together for you and try and show some stuff. But have a great weekend, everybody, and we'll see you in the game and in the group. And get yourself ready, because Clash of Wills is coming.